TL, doctor, I came home from work and my husband had a Doberman puppy in the living room. He had just gotten back from a work trip and I had no idea he would be bringing back a puppy. I'm scared of big dogs and we live in a small apartment. 2 days later, I told him I want a divorce. My husband and I have been married for 6 years and moved to a new state last year for my job. I work about 60 hours per week, so my husband spends a lot of time on his own. He brought up getting a dog when we first moved to this new state, specifically a Doberman. He had a dog as a child and his parents had to give it away. It's really important for him to have a dog as an adult. Initially, I was very much against it. I'm terrified of big dogs, and I'm not an animal person at all. Ultimately, I saw how important this was for him, and I asked him to hold off until we can rent or purchase a home. This way, the dog would have a backyard to play in and there would be enough space in the house, so the dog and I wouldn't be on top of each other. He seemed to understand my reasoning and decided to buy a fish instead. Fast forward 1 year later, we live in a different apartment, and he tells me that he put down a deposit for a Doberman. Once again, I told him that I'm scared of big dogs. He responded that it's a puppy and I won't be scared of it when it's adult sized, because I'll see it grow up. We had a big fight, and I told him our apartment is still way too small for a Doberman and to hold off until we can either rent or buy a house when our current lease ends June 2024. Our apartment also doesn't allow Doberman breeds, but I found out from our property manager that he got a letter from a doctor saying he needs an emotional support animal, even though he's never struggled with mental illness. He told me that he did not need my consent or permission to get a dog, and that he's always wanted a dog, so he was going to get one. Since I seemed to get nowhere communicating verbally, I wrote him a letter expressing my feelings, and he told me that he'd reach out to the breeder to try to stop the purchase. I thought everything had been sorted, and I was happy that he seemed to hear my concerns. He went on a work trip on Tuesday, and when he returned on Wednesday he had a dog with him. He did not tell me that he could not cancel the purchase. He did not tell me he planned to bring a dog back with him. I feel betrayed by his actions. I love this man so much, but I want a divorce because he's shown he is self-serving, deceitful and puts his desire to have a Doberman above my fear of them. At no point has he apologized or acknowledged how messed up his actions are, or offered to rehome the puppy. I feel horrible because he values this dog he's had for 2 days over his marriage to me. Am I overreacting? Edit. Just to address some comments, I did try to compromise on a smaller breed. He was completely against that. It had to be a Doberman. I also understand getting a house doesn't solve my fear, but it would 1. Give the dog a dedicated space to run around and 2. More physical space to roam around the house without the two of us being on top of each other. No, you are not overreacting. He told me that he did not need my consent or permission to get a dog, and that he's always wanted a dog, so he was going to get one. So what is to stop him from doing the same the next time he really wants something? You could both have talked about compromising and getting a small breed, or when you saw yourselves moving to a bigger house, or a myriad of other things. What you don't do is go over your partner and do something that might cause them anxiety. Yup. He doesn't need her consent or permission to go F******17 women either, or to buy a 80k car, or blow all their money on crypto. A husband like this is worse than no husband. He doesn't need her consent or permission to get a puppy. She doesn't need his consent or permission to get a divorce. He won't rehome the puppy. Fine. She can rehome the husband. I'm not sure why you believe that he even tried to stop the purchase. He has already made it clear that he doesn't care about your opinion, and that he doesn't believe you deserve any input on the topic. He is picking the dog over you. She doesn't care about his feelings or opinions. He moved states for her job, and he has no network there. He's alone all the time, so he wants a dog. She says she knows how important it to him, but strings him along, and says when they get a bigger apartment. So she's just ignoring his needs and what she acknowledges to be something that is important to him. She has no concern at all for him, and wants to exert control over him. She needs to get divorced and go find another doormat. You two are just incompatible. He clearly doesn't want to live without a dog and willingly blow up the whole marriage for it. Divorce is the correct way to go. It sounds like there's more to the story with their relationship and a general unhappiness already, so yikes about adding a dog to the mix. What the hell? He absolutely needs your consent and permission to completely upend your home life and change the entire structure of your days. He came back from a work trip, right? Who's on the hook for that dog when he's out of town? You. It's horrifying that people do this kind of thing to people who are, ostensibly, their partners. I feel like the work trip was pretty obviously not a legit work trip but him retrieving the dog. But the fact that it's a believable lie does indicate he probably does go on trips for work. TBH as a dog walker here, I see this all the time. Spouse gets a dog, despite the other partner not being into pets. A few months down the line, guess which papers they are both signing? He's been unbelievably selfish on you and the dog. A dog like that needs space to roam. You aren't even a dog person and you knew that. Good luck to him. He has no idea what he has taken on. We get loads of them going to shelters in the UK. It's a dog that looks impressive, but people have no idea how hard they are as a breed. I hate to say it, maybe subconsciously he was pushing you out. I know some of our clients were. Your comment has me wondering if this could be the exact reason his parents had to give away his childhood Dobie. Bless you, in my weird little unreligious hippie woo woo way, for being these dogs' friend. I'm glad you're in the world doing what you do. Also, I vote that anyone looking to get a large and slash or otherwise higher maintenance dog now needs to get the OK_what's next stamp of approval as part of their vetting process prior to get said animal. Your husband has had no consideration for your feelings or request to wait on getting a dog. His need to fulfill his childhood dream and trauma supersedes your fear and common sense. Big dog in small apartment. This can't be the only time in 6 years he ignored your needs for his own. It's not, but it feels like the final straw. He truly demonstrated how little he thinks of me with this. You're making the best decision. He proved the dog he didn't even have yet takes precedence over you. Now that he has it, it will continue to take precedence and it'll only get worse. He has no respect for you. You were willing to compromise, even though you have a fear of big dogs. He purposeful was deceitful thinking he could convince you to keep the dog and have everything in his life. Life has consequences when you betray a partner's trust and disrespect them. Not once has he shown any ounce of remorse or thinking he was in the wrong. He lied to you and doubled down on his actions. That's not something that can just be fixed and go away even if you guys did go through couples therapy. You're definitely not overreacting. Yeah, divorce is the right way to go on this one. Pets are about as important on the list of compatibility topics as kids are. Clearly he tried to hold out, but ultimately decided this was too important to him, and he made the decision for you both, likely hoping that you would change your mind. I can see both sides. He just handled this so wrong. I wish you the best moving forward. The point about yes/no on pets being as important as agreement on kids is spot on, and I wish more people realized that. It's not the same, but is still life changing, and is a commitment for 10, 15, maybe even 20 years with cats. A home with animals where one person doesn't want or actively dislikes them isn't going to be a happy home for anyone, including the innocent animals themselves. Knowing you would have compromised with a smaller dog, or perhaps a cat? I don't think you are overreacting. I think it's really weird that it had to be a Doberman. I guess there's some lingering childhood trauma from giving his previous one up, but the dog being the same breed does not mean it's the same dog and there is no way to right the wrong. I really love pet mixes, and when my current dog is no longer with me there is a good chance I will get a pet mix again. Partly just because I always adopt shelter dogs and a huge proportion are pet mixes. So I can partially see this, because if someone told me I could never have a pet or any large dog again I would be very sad. I wouldn't be compatible with that person. However, her husband is the one that married her knowing she was afraid of dogs. He went behind her back and refused to even have an honest discussion. He's 100% being a shithead, even if this is just an incompatibility at the end of the day. People always focus on children being the hottest button topic of compatibility, but views on pet ownership are important to Imo. I know 2 LTR that ended because the couples could not compromise on wanting a dog. I'm a dog lover as well, but I hate how some people think that those who don't like or want pets aren't valid in their feelings. Pets are a huge responsibility and shouldn't be forced onto anyone. This is clearly a man who doesn't understand marriage in the slightest. Doesn't need your consent to bring a living animal into your shared home. Of course he does. Both people in a relationship have to agree to a new pet. I think you're right to leave. Dude, your feelings are 1000% validated. Was he flabbergasted when you told him you want a divorce? Is he scrambling to rehome the dog? Or is he resolute? Honestly, even if he does rehome the dog now, I feel like it's too little too late. What else will he strong arm you into in the future? He's proven himself to be selfish. No remorse. No apology. He will not rehome the dog. He would rather divorce than rehome it. He's let me know the dog is his priority. Dobermans are a super clingy in-person focused dog. I hope your partner is prepared to never be alone ever again. He did this without any consent from you, and knowing you wouldn't agree. Dump him and find someone more respectful and empathetic. My rescue Dobie is a big mush and exactly as you described. He's almost 13, no heart disease, but he does have primary lung cancer now. It's terminal, but he's not showing any signs of decline or pain yet. This breed is smart, big, and energetic, and they have a natural instinct to keep an eye out and watch. It's definitely not the right dog for a first-time owner like Op, and definitely not for someone who isn't confident in dog handling, as dogs this smart require serious training and a firm, competent leader. You are not overreacting. It's not about the dog. It's about you two working out an issue, communicating your needs, making plans for a compromise, so you are both happy. And he ignored all of that, and just did what he wanted to, because he wanted to. That is not a partnership. Thank you. Some of these comments act like I'm the Antichrist, because I'm not a dog person. Take the dog out of the equation, and imagine your partner made a 15-year commitment without making sure you were on board with that commitment. I can't imagine anybody justifying that. I could never be with someone that doesn't want cats. I'll have cats all my life, take it or leave. I'm open to any animal to be honest, but having at least one cat is non-negotiable. So I guess you are both incompatible. It would not be fair for him to not have a dog his entire life if he wants to, and it's also not fair on you to have brought a dog when you clearly don't and will never want one. Eater, it's not about loving you more or less than the dog. It's like wanting children. It's not something you can change in someone in my opinion. Edit to after reading the comments, you would have been afraid of the dog, big house or not. I still think you are both incompatible. One of you is going to resent the other whatever the decision is. There is no compromise where everybody wins here. I fully agree with you. If person A absolutely must have a thing in their life to be fulfilled and happy, and person B absolutely hates said thing, why on earth would you get married? My boyfriend has a dog, but the dog is very old and sick. He talked about getting a dog together. He shares this one with his ex, and I refused. He told me I shouldn't rain on his parade. He was due at fantasizing. How dare I refuse and say no? I told him I'm not getting a dog because I already have 4 kids. He has 2, and I have 2, and I don't want the added responsibility of a full-time job, parenting, house chores and a pet. I just don't. So I told him that. Then he was all like, okay, I respect that. In your case I'd kick the man and dog out. No way I'd accept a surprise puppy. It's emotionally manipulative. And it won't work. Put your foot down. X. Not overreacting. Why was he against a small breed? I mean miniature Pinscher looks like mini Dobies, and in the right hands, they are great little dogs. Dobie is a high energy dog and he/she isn't going to be happy in that small apartment. They need a lot of exercise and mental stimulation. They also need a lot of training while they are puppies and be exposed to different situations. I'm also terrified of big dogs, especially as a small woman. My husband wants a husky so bad. His favorite breed, and had a puppy that he couldn't keep when he was younger. but he acknowledges that I don't want one, even if I'm willing to get a smaller dog. He acknowledges that our apartment is too small for a big dog and doesn't want a dog in general until we buy/rent a house with a fenced-in yard. He is rational in that sense and listens to me and values my opinion and comfort. I'm not a dog person, but I have loved the dogs my family owned and am willing to get a breed I'm comfortable with because he wants a dog someday. Same way how my husband wasn't a cat person, but let me get cats under the agreement that I primarily care for them. We are able to compromise to find a solution everyone is content with. Your husband truly cares more about himself and a new puppy than you and your marriage. I'm truly sorry for you. Please stick to your guns and leave. You deserve better and are more than capable of finding it. How is that fish doing? Nope. You're not overreacting at all. Your husband has shown that he will put his wants and needs over you and your marriage, and that he isn't the least bit sorry about it. How on earth are you supposed to stay in a relationship with someone who has actively shown how little they care for and respect you? I hope him and his dog are very happy together while you go thrive somewhere far away from them. Talk to the landlord about removing your name from the lease. Let him live there alone with his dog and pay for it. He should be the one to move out with his dog. Get his name removed. I get what is like to have a fear of dogs. It was so not cool of him. What did he think? That you would see this puppy and just fawn over it and that the puppy would be too cute to refuse it? Well, he thought wrong, and now because of his selfishness his marriage is over. Not whatsoever an overreaction, it's nearly the equivalent of him adopting a human being without your express consent. Pets are not possessions, they are non-human persons. It's utterly insane and shockingly self-centered anyone would ever bring one into a home without every other person's agreement. Adding a dog, especially a big dog, especially a breed that can and has done severe damage to folks, is a full-on family commitment. It's not the kind of decision that can be made unilaterally, especially if you live in a small apartment. I don't think you're overreacting at all. It sounds like your husband has been incredibly irresponsible. I like your decisiveness. He sounds insufferable. I hope he works through his trauma, with or without a dog's help. Divorce. No questions asked. I love dogs, but this is a hard no. Doberman mom here. They are not apartment dogs or dogs for first-time dog owners. They need really excellent socialization and training, but can be great family pets and are super sweet with their people. Your husband is not only an irresponsible partner, he's an irresponsible dog owner. My dad did the exact same thing to my mom. Slightly smaller breed, but also one he'd had as a child. It took her an additional 15 years after that, but they are divorcing now. Finally his wants always came before her needs. And the needs of his children too. The dog is still alive. Mom has always taken proper care of it, but never loved it the way someone should love a pet. And who can blame her? It wasn't hers. Even though he bought it for her birthday. Dad isn't getting the dog in the divorce, and mom is rehoming it to someone who will care more. Yeah, he cares more about the dog than you, but not the actual dog. He cares more about his idea of what the dog will do/be more than you. He's prioritizing an imaginary dog. The future dog he's put on a pedestal. May the gods help the poor creature if it doesn't have his ideal temperament and behaviors. My wife pulled this twice after a family member bought a pet for our kids and having a conversation with me agreeing they should have asked us first. So she buys rats without asking me, then a cat. Guess shaming for the circle of life IDK. Anyway, she didn't respect me, potentially divorcing now, not just for this,